How did the devastating death of a child put Beavis and Butt-Head at the center of a media firestorm? The whole story is almost too weird to believe. Beavis and Butt-Head Do the Universe premiered exclusively on Paramount+, but before the audience even got a chance to see the movie, it was already shaping up to be one of the best reviewed films of the year. Critical response for Beavis and Butt-Head Do the Universe has been nearly universally positive. However, that's not how critics have always felt about Beavis and Butt-Head. For instance, when the show premiered on MTV in 1993, the critical response was mixed at best. Despite critics often wringing their hands over the series, Beavis and Butt-Head went on to become MTV's highest-rated program. It was a massive hit among kids and teens in 1993, and that generation has now grown up to become today's movie and TV reviewers. While nearly everyone can agree that Beavis and Butt-Head is great, plenty of older fans remember how controversial the show once was. Today, most critics and TV viewers understand the point of Beavis and Butt-Head. Yes, the characters are both dumb as bags of rocks. Both of them are obsessed with sex, have juvenile senses of humor, and engage in all kinds of destructive behavior. Everyone understands that creator Mike Judge doesn't endorse these shenanigans. Instead, the show is a satire, one that poked fun at adults' perceptions of Generation Xers who watched MTV. However, at the time, many critics completely missed the point. For just one example, the McLaughlin Group spent an entire segment bashing the show and complaining that it represented the decline of American television.
Crude, dumb, ugly, thoughtless, sexist, self-destructive, and foolish.
The generational divide was also a factor. In 1993, a San Diego Union Tribune critic summed it up best by writing, "I tried to like Beavis and Butt-Head. I really did. In fact, it actually bothered me that I didn't like them. I always wanted to be a cool parent. I don't want to be part of another older generation, but I can't help it. I really hate these guys." Strangely, many of these critics thought that Mike Judge was just as dumb as the characters he created. As Judge later put it, viewers really should have connected the dots. After all, how could someone be capable of producing a professional-level piece of animation and still be as dumb as Beavis and Butt-Head appear to be? Still, given the overall reception, plenty of parents in 1993 thought that Beavis and Butt-Head was too dangerous for TV. In October 1993, a 5-year-old in Moraine, Ohio named Austin Messner allegedly started a fire that resulted in the death of his 2-year-old sister Jessica. His mother, Darcy Burke, then claimed that her son had watched Beavis and Butt-Head and that the show inspired him to play with fire. Of the incident, the local fire chief, Harold Sigler, told the Associated Press, "The mother is attributing the fact that he was fascinated with fire to the Beavis and Butt-Head segment where they are setting things on fire. When you take a child in the formative years and you get these cartoon characters saying it's fun to play with fire, this is going to stick in that kid's mind and it's going to be with him for a long time." MTV didn't go so far as to take Beavis and Butt-Head off the air, but the network did make several adjustments in an attempt to head off the criticism. The network decided to ban the characters from saying the word fire, removed 4 episodes from the rerun schedule, and moved the show from 10 p.m. to 11:30 p.m., hoping that only older viewers would be watching. However, in a 2011 interview with the Spokesman Review, Judge denied that Beavis and Butt-Head had such an influence on children, saying, "First of all, I don't agree with any of that kind of criticism, and I don't take any responsibility for any of it at all. The fire was obviously a very horrible, sad tragedy, but it had nothing to do with Beavis and Butt-Head." Years later, Austin Messner reportedly came forward and clarified that he had never even seen Beavis and Butt-Head because his family couldn't afford cable at the time. The controversy ultimately didn't stop Beavis and Butt-Head from becoming the cultural icon that it is today. It would go on to spawn the 1996 film Beavis and Butt-Head Do America, a 2011 reboot on MTV, and the most recent feature-length offering. Not bad for a show that many initially condemned.